All right, it's been a good minute. Finally able to play the title update a couple days after. I planned on doing it the day before the day that I'm recording. Won't make sense because I won't be able to upload it for a while, but there were storms, so I really didn't get the chance to actually be at the computer. Now we're gonna actually get to play some stuff. I have heard Zoshia is maybe pretty difficult. Hopefully. I've only heard that from like very limited sources, just randomly, because I've been trying to stay spoiler free. For the most part, obviously, I know it's Mizutsune and what's in the update, but as far as fights go, I'm not really sure. But if it is going to be difficult, at the very least, that's what it seems to be like. I'm not gonna like do no focus mode or anything. I'm gonna do it with my actual armor and stuff and go all out at it. And if it's hard, great. I know Mizutsune has some Soulseer stuff, which is weird. I don't quite understand it. I'd like it if we could keep the monsters separate, but I'm not really that worried about it. Go ahead, need a meal, get that going. Guess I should go to the hub first. That will hopefully be better. There were also a bunch of other random changes from patch notes that I read and have promptly forgotten. Or, not promptly, but immediately forgotten. So, I don't really know what the changes are off the top of my head. I know I'm certainly high enough HR to actually do this stuff, but I think we're not. I think there's the blue question mark or exclamation mark. That's how we unlock the hub.
Good hunter, I bear glad tidings. The serenity you ushered in has opened the way back to our place of prayer.
Apologies, but what is the place of prayer?
A site where songs of prayer have been offered since ages past. It was rendered inaccessible after the downfall of Wyveria. But thanks to you, we have rebuilt. Having conferred with your comrades, the All-Harken has decided to make it a place of cultural exchange. I urge you to visit. You will find it on a path from the peak's back gate.
Grand Hub is now open. Suja, you can visit the Grand Hub by using the world map. As you can see, I've been using Lance a little bit to farm Temper Darkfeld, just to make it go quickly. I'm still looking for Challenger decos, but I'm not really getting them. I have two. It's the same two I had whenever I recorded the gore section of the last VOD. I'd like to hear the music. Kind of giving me some classic Monster Hunter vibes. Was that intentional? I assume that was intentional. Either that or it changed to look like this.
Wonderful! To think a place of such rich history would become a grand hub.
There's so many people. This is so exciting.
It's a place for us to share our cultures, for East and West to take their first steps together.
So many facilities. Let's go look around.
Yeah, let's make the rounds.
Grand Hub has every facility you'll need. Special entertainment. Squad information is relocated. Not that I really have used that at all. So, I think I want to change real quick. Question is, what do I want to use? I guess I could use Lance. Lance didn't really go that well against Zoshia, so I think I might actually try to make a sword and shield. That isn't just, I mean, the one works perfectly fine for what I need it for. But it would be nice to maybe have a tier 3 Guardian sword and shield. Where is the smithy? Everything's backloaded. Let's see. Nice Wyverian smithy. Cool. I don't know if I have enough or calcite, whatever.
Ooh, Artian, you say? I'm up for the challenge.
I like the new voice lines. Okay, what am I making? So if it's specifically Rosocea, then I would be using Dragon, right? I assume that's good. But Paralysis probably works just as good, if not better, because it gives you more openings. I really do like building for Element, though, but Paralysis I just have so much of. And I don't really know still what the meta is to build for. So I kind of am just going to do what I have. 210, that seems nice.
A sage choice.
And I should be able to, at the very least, meld Artian stuff.
Ooh, Artian, you say? I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah, I don't have enough. So if the Azuz Melder is here, quest counters. 18. I would assume, maybe not. I'm not sure. I might still have to go to Azuz for that. I want to say that actually changes it though, but I could be wrong. I'm not really seeing much in the way of that. Also, I guess I should have used the canteen, but I didn't. Oh, I'm not seeing it. Let me check and see what the icon is, and maybe it's not the map. Okay, map, please. We'll just go there. I mean, that's pretty much where I was just staying in a zoo, so I could meld stuff. If I didn't, you know, have enough stuff to meld for a while, then I'd just stay in Suja, because that's the closest thing to a normal village.
Got here fast.
Over here. All right, so what's the icon? Icon looks like a thing. I don't really know what you would call that, but it's unique at the very least.
Now this is the stuff.
Sort by amount I can. A lot of hard bones. This is the more important stuff, though. At some point, I do need to just make the Arkfeld armor. That way I don't have to worry about how much Arkfeld stuff I'm putting in there. Just need 44, I think. 40 of those. I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of stuff, actually.
Time to get started.
All right.
See ya.
I'm excited for Mizu armor. Normally looks nice. I don't know what design they used for it. Part of me wants to say they used part of the gunner design, but I could be wrong. I didn't really get a good look at it. Where am I going?
You can leave this to me.
All right, good rolls, please. I'm not really going to be picky. That looks pretty good, honestly. What was it? 2 affinity, 2 attack, and then 1 sharpness. Yeah, I mean, that looks great, honestly. 210, 220%. Now, here's the thing that I'll say. The only reason I made that is because I pretty much had the stuff on hand. I'd rather use Monster Tree stuff, as you can see, from using the Arkfeld Lits. Which is probably fine, but I just wanted something with high raw, and I didn't want to make Artian. I'd just much rather have normal normal weapons. Because the designs are just so good in this game. It's like, I don't really want to use something else. For sure, we want this. Don't really have any good Guardian combos. So I think we do use crit boost since it's at 20%. Right? And then whatever else I might want guard, honestly. Do I want razor sharp? I mean, that handicraft jewel is a decent amount. I'm not really worried about applying too much paralysis. So I'm not going to build into that. Honestly, that looks fine on unblockables. Because your block rate is fine in general. And the thing is, I don't want to be snagged by a random unblockable that just one-shots me. Obviously, if I'm just going for damage, I can do this. And that's a really decent chunk of attack. It's only 7, actually. It'd probably be better just to max this out or something. Oh, wait, hold on. I know what's better. There. Just get massive amounts of affinity. Now, is Bird here? Bird is not here. Not that it really matters. So, I think we're going to do Mizu first, which is Scarlet Forest base camp. Talk to the fishing lady, which I haven't actually talked to at all as far as I'm aware. Maybe once, but I never actually did any major fishing. I did like a couple of things just to see how difficult it was because people were saying it was difficult. It wasn't that bad, but I didn't really delve too much deeper into it, so it probably does get harder the deeper you go in. I'm gonna switch my weapon real quick. I do like the arc-filled lance. It looks pretty neat.
Fishing. Life in microcosm. Drop a line and you are in conversation with nature herself.
Where's this coming from?
Be it back home or in a forbidden land. If I see water, I know what I'm doing.
Is it fishing?
It is! You're a sharp one. And good. I see you brought a fishing rod. Though, fishing isn't something one can force on another. It's about the desire.
I assume this is just, yeah. Nope. Not interested in that. Do I have to do your side quest? Probably. Okay. Might be wasting time here, but... Oh well. Where's the fishing rod? There it is. Pivot, aim with L, stick, or right stick for casting your lure with R. Different fish are attracted. As soon as a fish bites, press RT to hook it and reel it in. Alright, I think you have to hold. I might be going too far out. This wasn't happening before. Why is it? That's odd. So when I did it, it wasn't kicking me out immediately. Interesting. Let's try to throw it out a little further. There we go. Nope. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Apparently this area is just really bad. Other than that, I don't remember what I did myself.
The key to fishing is patience.
Okay, I got your fish. Now what?
Welcome back. Fish not.
How about next time?
I'll hold you to that.
Okay. Now we can do it.
Kanya of Ruby.
Now we can do it.
The note says, "Want to drop a line?
Come on.
I have a request for you. Why don't we go pay her a visit?"
Yes, why don't we?
Have you been angling, Fisher fellow? Actually, let me reel it in. Listen. See, I knew I could count on you.
Missed that because I was pressing A and it
The
didn't
thing
work.
is, my fisher wutler, masked angler.
Okay, I think someone needs to set a limit on you smashing words together.
But we can discuss it later. I know Masked Angler. Quite a reserved Wudwud. Always out fishing?
He and I hit it off from the moment we met. We're best angling buddies. But lately, his stomach's been doing the talking for him. I hear it growling all the time. My specialties lie in the water, but as a scholar, something seems up.
Fish are a central part of the Wudwud's diet. So if a Wudwud is going hungry when he's living that close to a fishing spot, well,
Something must be keeping them from getting food.
yes. And that something could be a monster.
Yeah. That's why I was hoping you could accompany me to his fishing spot to check it out. If it's you guys, the Wudwuds are a lot less likely to freak out.
All right, well, what are we waiting for?
I'll show
Okay.
you the way.
Oh boy.
Kanya.
Time to walk. I'll use Lance for this. Because it's not going to be that dangerous. At least I don't think. Maybe I'll be surprised.
Asking, how do you communicate with Masked Angler if he doesn't talk?
When two people drop a line side by side, that's all you need. Any true fisher knows the feeling. Angling transcends words.
Wow, you're a real professional. Let's save the detours for later.
Any
Ah,
idea
no.
which monster it could be?
I'm going this way.
I had my zenny on a Bashagu, but something's not enough. Bashaguma are a pillar of the Scarlet Forest ecosystem, right? So if they're just out there doing their thing, that shouldn't result in a fish shortage.
I see. A doe shagama.
Oh, yes, that. I can't remember the name of anything out of the water.
Yep, a
I was going to
real
say something, but I had a feeling it was going for that. Can't really grab anything if my pouch is full. Did I restock? I did just look at my item pouch, but I wasn't checking for that. Yeah, I've got mega potions. That's the most important.
Comes while he's alone?
Also, the game likes to boot up on my other monitor,
We're nearly there.
so it likes to kick it into 1440. Turn that off. Frames might take a dip, but oh well.
Sure enough.
Masked Angler! You're safe. I was so worried.
Is that the monster that's disturbing your fishing?
No.
No.
Now.
Lighting's nice in this cutscene. Ooh, I hear the music. All right. I'm excited for the theme. It's a nice icon too.
Mizitsune. To ensure the area's safety,
She's gonna slide and fall.
you to hunt the Mizitsune. On it.
Almost. All right, buddy. Interesting. So that's from Rise. Little slide. I don't know if it enraged. It's not showing agitator, so no. I'm gonna try to be quiet and listen to the theme for a good minute. Wonder if I don't remember how much dragon damage Mizu takes. I want to say like his claw randomly takes like one of his claws, but that may be Soul Seer that I'm thinking of. However, if he's taking one thing from Soul Seer, he may be taking more things. Trying to block. That ain't working out too well though. There's the big water burst from Rise Mizu as well. Ow. Oh, that did some damage. Unless I'm just taking chip randomly. That would make sense too, honestly. What flaming bubble? Why do you have a flaming bubble? It's not even tempered. Attacking too quickly. My bad. Not giving you time to attack. Yeah, it's kind of hard to aim the counter. Okay, you're actually doing quite a bit. Again, kind of weird seeing this. Oh, and you take so much damage on your face like that. Or maybe not. Maybe I just had a weird crit thing going. Didn't have enough stamina. That is, okay, another Soul Seer attack. Either that or it's Jirik Mizu. One of the two. I remember there being like a big slam, but I want to say I remember that mostly from Soul Seer. However, you fight Soul Seer more if you're like completing GU. What's going on here? Interesting. And maybe that was signifying it being 50% health, which is odd. Not odd. It's actually pretty par for the course here. All right, that is 50% health, I assume then.
Looks like it's moving to a new area.
I hope they comment on it being weird that it has Soul Seer tendencies, because again, that's just very odd. Because the more Soul Seer stuff they put into regular Mizu and other Mizus, the less reason they have to bring back Soul Seer. Now, again, Soul Seer is still different. It has the dried up fur that it, you know, lubricates. But it's like Violet has, it's weird. It's the Firefox thing, and I understand the concept, but it's like almost every other version of Mizu, Apex Mizu, Violet Mizu, and now just regular Mizu has some weird fire thing going on. It's like, eh, do we need that? Really did not need to do that attack. I'd rather do the strong one. He's not really being that aggressive either. You are exhausted. So, and I haven't heard really much of the theme because there's a lot of stuff going on with it, but I don't know how to feel about it. It's good, right? Obviously, it's Mizutsune. It's going to be good, but I think it'll have to. I'm not very good at judging things immediately because either I'm overly excited about it or under excited about it. The longer things go on, from when I first hear it, whatever, generally I'll tend to look on things more fun. And sometimes I'll look at them worse, but most of the time I'll look at it more fondly. So maybe I'll like it a little more. It's not bad to have different themes too. So far he's had 3 different types. You have Generations, you have Rise, and then you have now Wilds. So they all do their own thing. I still, at current point, which again can change, I still think Generations is better. It's just punchy, you know, it's fun. As much as Rise, you know, does unique things, it's
So much for taking care of the music
still, I still don't think it's better.
Now the What's fishing spot will be safe. And that means they'll be able to eat.
Fisher fellow. Good lord.
I guess the Scarlet Forest monster ecology is even more diverse than we thought.
I'll be sure to make a note of that in my report about Mizutsune. We need to do more research on the ecological distribution here. I'm sure we can find a better way for the Mizutsune population and Woodwoods to coexist.
Agreed. So now that this investigation is over, what should we do next?
We're gonna fish.
Sounds great to me.
Okay. Now, time for the big one. Armor first, though. I think Mizu did have a lance. It's a flagship, right? So, I think it has most of every weapon. I don't know if it's like Sergios, or it has almost all of them, but another water weapon is most definitely welcome, for sure. Alright, so 210, 15% affinity, long white sharpness, and 30 water element. How does that stack up to Bellahara? I kind of forgot Bellahara existed, honestly. So 210, 10, so 5% less affinity, less white sharpness, and less water element. So Mizu is just a straight upgrade to that. I don't know, maybe it has good slots. 321, 321, so not anything different there. And Uthduna may not have a lance. Okay, so this is your big water lance. Looks nice. I like the light reflecting off of the weapon. Slicked blade. I assume that boosts your attack when you're in Bubble Blight. Temporary increases affinity when wet. Wet. Okay, so I assume that means Water Blight. Or just wet. Maybe. Okay, so maybe wet just means like an initial Bubble Blight, but the stuff that doesn't actually affect you in the Bubble Blight. And they both stack, so maybe not. Maybe it's just when your character is like walking in water or whatnot. I want to say there was a skill like that before. I might be thinking of a different game though. 3% affinity when wet, 7% when affected with bubble blight, which will be 10% affinity, 6% when wet, and 14% when infected with bubble blight. So this is more like Scarlet Forest stuff. I wonder if, one, does bubble blight actually make you wet too, or is it just bubble blight by itself? Two, and I would think the most important thing are, like, obviously this is made to go with Mizutsune equipment, which I assume has bubbly dance, but does this like work in the basin with like the oil stuff? Because it won't be very useful in other maps if you're not using Mizutsune armor, which obviously it's made to go with Mizutsune armor. I assume Mizutsune armor probably also has water attack up on the alpha set. I'll have to see, but 30% at max, that's really good and probably isn't the hardest thing. That's the thing though, if bubble blight doesn't make you wet, then that 9%, which is less, you know, won't be active all the time. It just really depends on the map. Maybe you can throw like a pedal pod down, but I don't know how common those are on the more dry maps. And then, you know, 21% affinity, that's pretty nice, I guess. And it's a big jump. Like it doubles and then triples. So, that, I mean, it's very proportional. What you're getting.
Got something in
Mizu, yes, Mizu does have a great sword. It looks pretty cool. The bow.
What are we making today?
It's a really cool looking bow too. 210, 190, 15%. Versus, also need to look at your skills. Here your coating. So pierce coating. So elemental pierce. Exhaust coating's pretty interesting. 2. Has slicked blade. No blade on it. I guess if you consider an arrow a blade. Okay, so 230. 0% 15. 240. Negative 20. So this would probably be your high raw. Has decent though. It's only 10 more or 1 more actually than that. So Zuwu is more, I guess this would maybe be more raw focused, especially considering it comes with focus. Uthduna is probably its best element wise, right? And I don't think negative crit takes into account element, which is good. So this would be like your max element. This would be your neutral. Well, no, I think Mizu is probably more neutral, right? Because it has affinity. However, you're losing 20 raw for 15% affinity compared to Juwu. And a little bit more water element. However, Juwu has power coating, so good. And this one only has pierce, no exhaust. There's a Mizu gun that's, did they all have weapons? I want to say, obviously there's a switch axe or charge blade.
Got something in mind?
Again, I think since it's a flagship, normally flagships get one of every weapon. Normally. There may be some fringe cases, but yeah, it looks like that's the case. How about the dual blades? What do those look like? 210, yeah, it's same as the bow. Long white sharpness. That's really nice. You don't have to build into sharpness. Maybe a little bit, but not that much.
Anything catch your eye?
The switch axe. I do love how the light shines off the blade. That's really cool. The long sword.
Anything catch your eye?
Yeah. It looks really good. I can't deny that.
What are we making?
Armor. Looks neat. This is just standard Mizu armor though. It's not like gunner mix or anything. Okay, so not obviously the best. It's kind of weird that it's at the bottom too, but it's not the best slottage wise on the beta set. However, burst, 2 points in burst is okay as far as I'm aware. Constitution is 2, which is good. Like, this is good for bow, right? Well, I guess Evade Window doesn't matter. I'm thinking of World and Rise bow. Doesn't really matter that much here because adept, but Constitution is nice. So if you're using bow, I assume you would use the coil because that has good slottage, and the chest. However, I don't know how that plays into gore because gore you normally use the chest. However, the skills are about the same, so I guess not. It doesn't really matter. All right, let's look at prevents major bubble blight. Okay. So that's good. You get alluring pelt, which is a diversion. I guess could be good for lance, but bubbly dance doesn't really combo with that. It does if you're using sickle blade or slicked blade. But how do you get slicked blade? Are there decorations for that? Or is it only on the Mizu weapons? Which at that point, you're not really going to get much out of it if it's not weak to water. Unless that 30% affinity is really just that important, but I don't know. Looks neat. Aquatic mobility is also cool, I guess. More burst. Looks like an okay alpha set, right? You get some okay slottage with it. Not the best in the world, though, obviously. Normally, alphas are not. Alright, now... what's the defense look like? Is there going to be power creep on the armor, or is it just... it is only rarity 6, so I would assume not. Yeah, 48 compared to these. That's good. Now, we will watch Tempered Rathalos get paralyzed. Let's save that Tempered Uthden investigation. Around for something else. Nothing. Okay. Alright, back to the hub. Actually, Suja. Time for the actual final boss. I will say this. Again, I have opinions about the game that I haven't really get to say much of because I haven't been playing the game that much. Recording it, I've been actually playing it quite a bit, just randomly. Grinding stuff, but I feel like
we need to talk about the Dragon Torch.
Zoshia kind of just got wasted in low rank.
Hang on, Olivia's here.
I don't know. It just
I'll go fetch her, so stay put.
feels kind of sad. I get they wanted to combine Village, which it's not uncommon to have an Elder Dragon as your final boss in Village. Shigaru.
Did Werner send for you?
I'll be quiet.
Well, we have an update regarding the Dragon Torch. We had that area sealed off, but the Allharkin has given us a troubling report. Yes. Faint whispers began to...
And I'll say this, they can fix it. It just depends on how they handle this.
At first, I could not identify them. But now, the sensations are keen. The stirrings of life.
You don't mean Zoshia?
Unfortunately, we've discovered multiple budding cocoons on site.
Is she wearing new armor?
We removed many of the small ones, but it seems to have had no effect on the majority.
And this is where you say, let's stop the Dragon Torch. So let me remind you. You can't do that. It's an unstudied biological...
You okay, bud?
There's no replacement.
Did you loop your animations wrong?
Where? I had no intention of suggesting that under the circumstances.
Good. Wait, really?
Alright, then why don't you let us check it out? Yes. Would you be willing to put your faith in us again?
Of course. No one knows what we're up against better than your unit. As for me, I have merely come to relay what I had heard. I'll make my own preparations and stand by for your SOS flare. Be careful, Avis unit.
Okay.
Can you believe it? I thought we were done with Zoshia. We can't go in underprepared.
Right. I'll come find you once I'm ready to go.
Again, I'm expecting a pretty rigorous fight, so I will go ahead and grade my armor for what I can. I'm gonna give it a fair shake, but we'll see. No, I don't want to make it. I want to forge or upgrade.
Look good?
How's that one's gonna go? Arkfeld stuff is so expensive.
Anything catch your
Which I assume it's just because it's, you know, kind of technically a couple of levels ahead of regular stuff as well. Yeah, this one's gonna be cheap to upgrade, which is good.
I'm ready to work. Come back anytime.
Alright. Go ahead and eat another meal. I would go to the hub and eat it at the canteen, but I'll have to just come right back here. So I'm just gonna eat a ration meal. Doop. Done. Again, I know I'm using like the most overpowered weapon,
Shall we head
but
for the Dragon Torch? Or would you like to check a different quest first? Okay.
we'll see. Again, I know I'm using the most. This is the most definitely the safest weapon, right? Remember, I carded with Lance because of its problems with that one beam that drained your health. Is it replaying the cutscene or is this different? Oh no, he broke free on his own. Okay, that's cool. I'll say why I think this can be fixed once I'm in the fight. Because I think they're doing it. What I would want. Okay, so, and maybe that was a cutscene. I really do not remember if it was. I don't think it was. It doesn't seem familiar. If they make it to where the Zoshio we fought in the rank was just still juvenile, like, it doesn't grow, I don't think, but fine. If it makes it, you know, they say it was weakened because it didn't get enough energy or whatnot, and now this is like the big one, okay, fair enough.
It was definitely different from before.
And that it seems like that's what they're doing. Back legs are garbage. He's not really taking that much damage though, which is interesting. Alright, cool. Okay. I'm actually getting some Xeno'jiiva vibes from this. Large attacks that are not safe. And deal very decent damage, actually.
I need to attack it before that happens.
Oh, yeah. Forget about wound mechanics sometimes. What you doing? Seems like he's fairly resistant to paralysis as well. I think I'm safe here. And he is taking more damage now on the legs. Ow. Alright, decent damage. Ah, don't move your face that much. Agreed? Somewhat. It's just that big one that went forward a little bit. We're good. I don't know how I'm gonna get to that wound. I guess it's not that important. Also, I said that was plenty of sharpness, but it most definitely was not. Ow. That's supposed to continue going? A little odd. Not now, you know exactly what I'm doing. Why are you offering me a meal? Like, you might be hungry. Please come by. If you don't, I'll be upset. I'm gonna try to cut the tail off because its weapons might be good. It's not really doing any tail attacks either, which I find odd. And his tail is a weak spot now. I don't think it is actually. It's just yellow because I have white sharpness. Also, I forget I can actually counter stuff. I was trying to evade, but I don't have to. Okay, well, you gotta actually block if you want to evade it. Really should be trying to counter those as well. They may have high knockback because, you know, big monster, but... Alright, it's time for this. Now, I still don't quite know what was done to protect from this, other than just staying at the edge of the arena. Also, I'm glad that they actually put in a word saying that the crystals were being ignited. Yeah, you literally just stay at the edge of the arena. I'm glad they said something. I know. Oh, okay. So you destroy them, and then okay, that makes sense. See, that really wasn't explained in the first fight, but it is now. So you know what? That's fine. That's smart. I know they wanted you to figure it out on your own, and if it were maybe, I guess, pointed towards a little bit more, because they do. They kind of. Like, hey, look, it's like, you know, something's happening to these things. But it certainly wasn't enough, especially right after Jin-Hadad, or Dahad. It's like, not quite. You taught me how to do it one way, and then you want me to do it another way. Which, again, it is different. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just, you know, explain. I like his animations here. I think they're a bit different. Oh, there we go. I want to go for this tail. Ow. Okay, so that's some pretty quick tracking. Not that that's always a good thing, but don't really see it being too egregious in that particular situation. Yeah, you're pretty quick, honestly, turning. Not really sure why I'm starting to sharpen here. Am I safe? Not quite. Never mind. Oh, stop, stop. I think I'm safe to sharpen here. Very heavy on the music. Again, you don't get to experience it this much because you only get to fight him once if you don't SOS. Which was a crying shame. There are bits of Fatalis in there, or Roar, I guess. Forest and Hills. Da 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 da. I didn't even try that hard to actually mimic the theme. Those are just the notes. There's a tail attack. You have a lot of part health on that tail. Okay, so the second one that he does when he moves is a forward one. It isn't the Teostra one. What is this? This looks new. At least I don't remember it. Well, whatever it is, he did it into a corner, so I don't really get to see it very well. I think that was just kind of a mini version of that super attack, but... Unless this is a phase 3 or something. Okay, that extends further out. No. Again, it's a really cool boss. I think the worst part about it was that you couldn't fight it again. That was really just not great. Okay, stuff's falling from the sky. I believe I cut the tail the first time I fought him. So I think you can do it, it's just taking a while. And yes, obviously it's safer because it's not really attacking that far. But that's not quite why I'm attacking it. Give me your materials. Maybe it's like under a certain health that it only breaks off. That's kind of in line with some Elder Dragons. Only some though. You gonna let go of your tail at all? Like, you gotta spend the entire fight hitting that tail if you're gonna get it off. That's not what I meant to do. Really wanted to do a Superman, but running too parallel to it. Or, not parallel. Exact opposite, actually. I had a lot of knockback to it. It's turning with it occasionally. I'm low on health. Maybe shouldn't have went after the tail the first time I fought him again. And maybe he's not... Well, obviously he's resistant to paralysis, right? There we go. This might be the only time the tail is cuttable. So, it's not worth it to actually go after it. I don't really know what's happening here. Other than just he's very mad. I will sharpen individual segments back up to full if I have to. Okay. Chaotic. That's okay though. Is this new? I know he still did the Dragon Lightning in low rank, but maybe not this much. Again, I don't really remember enough about the original fight. No, there's a wound on the tail and I want. There we go. There's the tail. I hope it fell in bounds. It did. Alright, now I can actually start engaging you correctly. Okay, you combo that. I think that was supposed to catch me off guard. Either that or just don't notice tails that easily. Felt like it was probably something different from the low rank fight that was like, oh, he does it 2 times now. Big Dragon. That's very similar to World Fatalis. Okay, that goes even further back now. Problem here now is that since his entire body is a weak spot, I don't really have to go over the head anymore, even though it's the best, obviously. Ow. Okay. It's fine, I'm not really sure what the hitbox there was, unless he hit me with something physically, and I didn't see that. I'm guessing he maybe did a super after I died, because the whole area is like melting and stuff. Could be wrong though. Give me the back leg. Please. Input buffer correctly. There's a wound on his face too. Oh, he's very easy to wound. So it may only be worth going for the tail once it's like souped up. Oh, okay, and that deals extra damage to him when you explode those close enough. That's why he's taking so much. What's happening? Oh, okay, it's just this thing. Boom. Yeah, he takes like very ludicrous damage from those pods. There's probably more. Hard time I'm having is figuring out what the attacks are doing and where they're coming from. Alright, so now next time I know to actually use the pods. I was kind of ignoring them. Go. Never mind, don't get to do that. Now, I don't know if I can just counter that. I don't think so. I think that's the one I died to with Lance, honestly. Because I thought it only did it once because all the other ones were doing it once. And that other attack just kind of happened. Didn't know it extended outwards. Alright, now that I have maybe a bit of a better idea of what he's doing, I don't really care if I fail here. He's one-shotting me, so fine enough. Not one-shotting me, but getting very close to it, so I'm not really going to complain if I failed to hunt like that. Are they my personal cup of tea? Not really. You can do them right sometimes, but certainly better than other ways of doing things. I don't really like Lance's pattern now. I don't have guard up here. Dude, I really need to keep holding block. Okay. He's persistent and aggressive, and I like that. I'm pretty satisfied with that. And the hunt is more difficult when I actually attack the body where you're dealing the most damage, which is good. Back away. You want to get really, I feel like Evade Extender is probably really good on this fight because of how large he is. At current moment, he's better than Xeno for sure. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, you really got to keep your rolls up there though. Heard that wound open up. If he creates a crystal there. And those really don't deal that much damage. Ow. He's gonna combo here probably. I know they really probably want you to interact with parrying, but I'd rather not. There we go. Alright. I think I am thoroughly satisfied with that fight. Especially once I start engaging with better hit zones and not just attacking the tail. So, we'll see. The more I fight it, I may not like it as much, or I may like it even more. But as of right now, I'm very satisfied with that. Also, they didn't let you skip until, which I think I saw it was a thing that they changed. But they won't let you skip the ending until the dialogue is finished, which is good because there's not really much of an indication that more's going to happen. So someone's like, "Oh, good job, you did it." Silence. You're like, "Okay, I guess that's done," and then you miss stuff. Challenger. There's the Challenger jewel. Cool. Guardian Jewel didn't really work out very well in that fight because
Welcome back. I'm glad you're all safe.
wasn't really blocking that much.
Nice job. Now I can continue my research on that thing.
Indeed, but how did Zoshia revive?
I've been wondering the same thing. Based on the information we have, my best guess is that it can self-propagate through something akin to asexual reproduction.
So, if some of it somehow survives, even a little piece, it could become another adult?
That's if it's supplied with energy. Wyveria's final line of defense is nothing to sniff at.
In which case, and I'm simply being honest here, can we truly allow the Dragon Torch to exist?
It's a conundrum. But this region survives despite, no, alongside that conundrum.
So you're saying we just keep an eye on it and make sure things don't fall apart?
Well, that's why we're here, isn't it? It's our duty. Jeez, I'm starting to sound like you.
Yes. Until we understand how Zoshia regenerates, we keep monitoring it and the Dragon Torch.
We'll all be working on this problem together. With the Keepers and the All-Harkin's blessing, of course.
Right. We'll see how this unfolds. At the moment, that's our best option.
Calm the mind and focus.
Okay. Nice rewards. Is that it? I guess that's it. So I assume I can just reflood it, right? You're not gonna make me wait for it to appear again, right? Let's look at weapons first.
Yep. Anything catch your eye?
Alright, so Zoshia, 220, 5%, 150. That doesn't really look that good, but in fact, it only gains very small amount upgrading, which I guess makes sense. So the question is, what is the skill? Because it must be really strong. Chance to deal additional damage after landing an attack. Oh, is it fire? Or just very, very, very productive description. Is it fire or is it different? I think it would say fire if it's fire. I think Rathalos is Scorcher, so the armor itself. I don't know how this works, so I guess I'd have to make a weapon. They're probably all the same though, unfortunately. So I can't make one quite yet. As for
What are we making today?
armor, Numinous. Very good slotted, well, decent slottage on the face. Agitator, recovery speed, agitator. Elemental absorption. So I don't really think that's very good. Because elemental absorption is not the great one. I think that only increases your defense. Maybe damage. So, increases elemental attack, but there's still a cap, which means at best that's just extra stuff that comes along with it. So, agitator, a level 2 on the coil, which is good. I'm not sure what I'm using right now. I don't remember. Using Arkfeld arms, so level 2 is absolute garbage. Yeah. No. Good for agitator though. Super recovery is a defensive skill, so I doubt it's amazing. Yeah, it's just Valhazak, but different. So normally that stuff's okay for Lance. I don't know if it's worth, like, okay, so these points in agitator are really nice, right? Like if you just have the 3-piece, which you wouldn't do, you'd just do the 2-piece at that point. or you go all the way for the 4-piece. I feel like you'd probably do the legs, coil, chest, and then face if you wanted to do that, and then whatever for the arms, probably. Where's it at? This one for weakness, exploit, 3-1 slots, which are okay. Again, for damage, not really gonna be that helpful, but I guess if you're wanting to stay alive longer, you probably combine that with Arkveld. However, Arkveld isn't really that... Well, no, it happens fairly often. I think that's better for something like Lance, which just gets so many attacks off and can just block, so you're not really placing yourself in danger. So a 2-piece of this and a 2-piece of that would be fine. Now, whether or not it's very fast recovery, who knows? I'm sure recovery speed helps because on the armor, right? So I feel like you do this and then whatever else. Weird looking armor. Not my personal favorite, but it don't have to be. Counter-Strike. I don't really know how that works in this game. I've watched stuff on it, but level 1's not that... It's 10 raw, but it's just 10 raw. One point in Coalescence, which I guess is nice. Again, I feel like they really want this to just be used in mix sets. Which, again, these 2 pieces are good. Even though they only get not great slots, actually. Like, they're still okay. But I'm not a celt builder, so I don't know. I really do not know. Okay, who do I want? What do I want to look at first? Again, not actually that amazing. Honestly, Arkveld has the same raw as this. Maybe less affinity. So 220. 0%, 25, decent white sharpness. Okay, white sharpness. Same sharpness, less element, 5% more affinity. Really just depends on how well the skill works, because the 3 points in guard's really nice. And, well, that's blue sharpness, so if you're not building into handicraft, then that's not good. Gore also is 10% less, or sorry, 15% more affinity, but 10 less raw. 5 more dragon element. Comes the crit element, which I don't know if that's good or not, but I think the weapon itself and its viability really hinges on whatever that skill is doing and whether or not it has a cooldown or something.
You know where to find me.
I'd like to look at there we go. You have hit zones available. Oh yeah, it's these terrible ones. So technically weaker to dragon, however much that makes sense. I think I have a dragon Ardean bow. I think bow would probably really work well against it. The only problem is obviously you're taking more damage, so it's like let's see. I'd like a Vid extender on it too. I have 1 point in jumping. I'm not gonna remove player. But I really don't have that many slots in this armor either. I'll remove player. Oh yeah, I could include challenger. Well, okay. 1 point in jumping might be fine. However, I need constitution. Yeah, this really isn't a bow set. At all, actually. What else would feel good, I guess? Armor might not be that bad. It's not that evasive. Problem with bow is it just needs so many stamina skills, and it's like, ugh. Oh, thank you. Really haven't made that many weapons either. I have the Arcveld Greatsword. Yeah, I have the Arcveld Lance, obviously. I've been using it. I have 2 of these for some reason. I don't know where that went wrong along the way. What am I thinking? We'll try it with hammer. Just switch back to sword and shield if it goes too terribly. Oh yeah, I had that expert jewel on. That's fine. Never mind, it's not fine. I don't have another expert 3 jewel. I do not. Oh well, we'll deal with the 2. Actually, there's better things I can do. Maybe. There's so much sharpness on this weapon. Way too much. We'll do crit. I wish there was a button to swap easily, but there isn't. I want to have a weapon that'll hit pretty hard. And hopefully I can just go to the hub and take normal quests now. All right, let's eat at this canteen. Or regional meals. Okay. Oh. I don't like that. I really don't. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like the old system better. Old man yells at cloud. So how do I get this login bonus? Okay, they give you some to actually mess around with. So it's one of those things where now your vouchers are vouchers, or your vouchers are used for just normal meals. It's exploiter. Rewards. Okay, that's good. Lucky insurance. Insurance is really good, but that seems to be pretty standard. Lasts for 50 minutes. Capture's kind of worthless. What is lucky? Sometimes increases. Versus increases. That seems better. Oh. Oh, why did I skip it? It's kind of important. Yes, I'll waste it. Cool. Good waste. Like pretty though. Okay, let's do the quest. Terrain quest. Good.
Yeah.
Alright, so free challenge, no quests. That's right. Optional. Oh, is it not going to be there? Okay, so there's just Xeno'jiiva. Bleh. Didn't like that when Xeno'jiiva was around, and I don't really like it now.
Let me know if you change.
Alright, well, I guess I just farm
Calm the mind.
Yeah.
Focus.
Mizu for the time being. See how it is without a shield weapon. And obviously different people are making the game compared to like Rise. Rise didn't have stuff like that. The Xeno'jiiva quest, the cycling and stuff. As far as I remember, I don't think it was there.
The hunt is on.
Maybe so rampages were weird, but they, you know, gave up on that.
We received supply items.
And again, Rise did stuff I don't like. Every game's gonna do stuff you don't like. GU's my favorite game, and it Deviant quest system is just absolutely not fun if you're trying to do it with friends. And even then, some of the deviants are not that great. Crystalbeard, Red Helm, and Snow Baron are just kind of there, and they're not fun. They're not particularly difficult either. They're just kind of annoying. But I don't really understand why they have to stick with the cycling. Like, I don't know. It's like the fun monster you can't fight very often. You gotta wait for it to appear. I'm sure at some point there will be an actual quest for it, but man. Well, you do take a lot of damage, don't you? Yeah, I feel like using Lance kind of just messed up the first impressions, maybe.
Now's our chance.
Can we hit that? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that can't really happen. Again, Hammer's offset is not non-command offset. It takes so long to build up to, even with the one attack. Spinning bludgeon. Like, it just, yeah, you don't rely on it. If it happens, cool, but okay, fair enough. Nope. Element damage. Not really even a fight. Well, it is. It is a fight for offsets. You're still very physical for the most part. Okay, that's an attack. That's an attack. Combo. Missed the dodge. I tried it. Didn't work. Oh, controller. Why? I didn't even move the thing. Am I gonna have to click in? Alright, run for your heart. What are you doing, controller? I'm not even moving it, and it's just like having a conniption. You gonna work now? Oh, we have just completely... Alright, can I like... I can roll. I can roll. Spacebar save me. What is the deal? Why have you quit working on me, controller? Lights are on. I'm not doing this with controller. Can I move? How do I move? How do I move? What is the deal? Are we gonna work now, or are we just gonna throw a fit? Alright, we're gonna leave it unplugged for a second. Let's cart me. Hurry up. There we go, finally. What are you doing? Why did that happen? Why did it not work? Well, maybe it works. I might need a new USB. It's the Switch USB, so I would think it would be fine for a while at the very least. Uh-oh. Nah, that doesn't really have that large of a hitbox compared to Soul Seer. No, this is not an offset fight. Good enough. Again, wasn't moving the controller at all. It just was like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm gonna drink some water. That's normally what you do. Oh, that's not good. Come on. Weren't really exhausted for that long. Alright, he's not that crazy. That looks a bit odd, honestly. Am I gonna get there in time? Yes, I am. What you doing? Just moving pretty slow. That was another Soul Seer move. Which, I guess if it's in Soul Seer mode, you should expect it to use Soul Seer moves. Nice finish.
That's my partner.
So these times are about low rank village. I guess high rank village if you have the right equipment, which makes sense because it's so low skilled. That's quite literally what it is. So I shouldn't be too surprised. Fairly standard for village times. I'm playing a little bit of GQ. I had a save that I was using Valor Greatsword for, and I had just beaten Glavenus last time I played it, which was, I say at least a year, many years, like 2 or 3. since I actually had touched that save. So I was playing around with it. I wanted to use Charger Blade a bit, and I fought Seregios a bunch of times, like a ridiculous amount of times. And that was fun. Made the, let's see, what did I make? I made the Charge Blade, I made the Great Sword, I made the Sword and Shield, and then I made the Long Sword and the Hammer. I was really farming a lot for the Air Blades, I think, or Air Blade Shards, which, you know, you get from his arms. I think, actually, no, you just kind of get them randomly, but for a couple of hunts, didn't really get them really to a good amount. Or for a good amount. I think Arkveld's just always better. Yeah, that's 6 compared to 4. And you can't have more, so we'll save Arkveld. Or we'll fight Arkveld. Tempered Arkveld. Not... It's tough, but not necessarily fun. Tough. Unless you're using Lance. If you're using Lance, then okay, it's like, alright, fine, whatever. But if you're having to dodge everything, the camp's over this way. I don't know. He's weird. He's all over the place. Not the most fun in the world. A lot of his attacks are just difficult to iframe, depending on how he starts them. Which obviously, when you say positioning, right? Well, not always, because a monster that has that much trekking can't really position too well, depending on where he starts them. I really do not need this much junk. I don't need Dust of Life or Life Powders. Well, those are useful if I run out of healing for whatever reason. Parashumes, I'm not capturing. So, Cleanser should still work for Pebble Blight unless they changed it. What is that? I assume that just turns it off. Yeah. Still haven't used any mantles. Again, I haven't really found a need to, and I don't want to get used to using them and them not being active for whatever I need them for.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna fight that Arkveld first. It's more important than doing a Mizutsune. I can do it anytime. Alrighty.
Let's have another hunt with no surprises.
Arkveld, you're right over there. Cool, I like that.
Come in. Hope you find something useful.
Alright, buddy. Also, it does depend on his size, because sometimes it's really easy if he's smaller, and other times it's not. Really, it's just timing your retribution thrusts correctly. That's not good. Never mind, it's actually fine. Okay, did that way too early, I guess. As long as that hits you once, you're good to actually do the Grand Retribution, whatever. I don't want to call it that all the time. What's the acronym? Nah, I don't. Retribution Thrust, that's just what I'm going to call it. I'm not really too interested in saying grand every single time. It's not that important. Super Thrust, that's what I'm going to call it. As long as you're hit once during your power guard, you can always just do it, so it's not that timing dependent. I do need to heal though. Still don't know. I haven't looked into it. I guess I've not really been that interested, but the best DPS for just neutral, like on a down or something. Like, I think it's just 3 mid or hot thrusts and then a triple thrust. Gotta sharpen. I don't know if I'm doing good damage or not. I feel like I am, but I don't know. I'm weird in that my benchmark for if something is doing really great damage and it's, you know, somewhat slow as if it's hitting 100 damage per hit or per 2 hits or something like that. And that's not the case almost all the time. That's not like the best thing in the world. Hit me. Thank you. So like, those one thrusts or hitting like 119 or something feel really good, right? And here's the thing, I'm happy Lance feels good. That's why I've just kind of started not worrying about what weapon I use. Yes, I'd like the game to be more difficult, but I'm not going to bar myself from using a weapon if I think it's going to be fun. And I've not done that, you know. Obviously, I used hammer and stuff when I found it fun. Why are you climbing a wall with your weapon out? What are you doing? But I'm going to appreciate Lance being good and being fun. And it was just I want to say personally, at the very least in my opinion, the absolute best iteration of Lance. Maybe not the strongest. I've not played it very much in Monster Hunter 1 or DOS. You want a weapon attack, please? Sunbreak Lance was just so good. I did love the guard dancing. Like, that was just so much fun. And it was still really strong. Most weapons were just really strong in Sunbreak. But it's really strong here. And here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. Focus mode is fun. It's not... I don't really... I don't know. I don't like the immediacy of how good it is. But the immediacy of how good it is fun. It's just... after a while, it does get to be bland. So, like now, I'm really enjoying it because I haven't played the game in a while. But if I start playing the game for a good period of time, it's going to start getting stale, right? So that's when I turn it off. However, the issue is, I don't turn it off, I just don't use it. Problem is, a lot of attacks really want you to be guarding. What? Oh, I think that's supposed to be on our back. A lot of attacks really want you to be guarding with focus mode in mind. So when you're not using focus mode, there's this weird thing where it like shows the model where the shield is, where it's, you know, going to be hit by the attack, but it considers the shield in a different place where you're actually blocking. So you'll be hit by a lot of random things. Another thing is a lot of your counters and stuff in your follow-ups do not land if you're not using focus mode, which isn't a lot of fun. Like here, I can show it off here, right? While Arkfeld is down on the ground. Like, this is much harder to aim, which is fine. That's the purpose. You have to actually think about aiming your attacks and stuff. But here, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to actually aim that and not just miss. We'll see. I'll try it a bit more. Okay, I can aim it a little bit, which is good. But full release slash, you cannot aim. Ow. Missed that. That's okay. You're supposed to be missing attacks without focus mode. That's kind of the whole point. Tried to counter that, didn't work out. Also feels like they kind of nerfed follow-up tackle. There we go, a little over 10 minutes. Again, I'll try it without and see. Because hunts will naturally take longer if you're not attacking wounds, right? So it does kind of balance itself in that way where you're not completely bodying the monster.
This thing's a trove of new data.
It's just weird. However, and again, I cannot, as much as I'm not a fan of focus mode because of what it is, I can still appreciate, it's like with Elden Ring. I never beat Elden Ring. I don't know what that is. That is a phone call. I never beat Elden Ring, but I enjoyed exploring the world and stuff. I just could not get behind the combat. It was not my cup of tea. I play Monster Hunter, so it's kind of hard to go to a different thing and learn muscle memory for that. So I did not end up beating that game. However, I can appreciate it for what it is. And I can tell the game itself, absolute great game. Very great game. Very good game. But I just couldn't do it.
Let's take a quick break.
Like, I have my things I like in difficulty, and I have my things I don't like in difficulty. And that's just one of them. Okay, this is going to be an abrupt cut, but I did want to get one more Zoshia in for this last part. I actually had finished the whole thing. I just did some tempered gore. Like one. And that was about it, which isn't that special because I can do tempered gore anytime. But I wanted to get another Zoshia in, and then I'll probably just end this part quick and then go on and record some more parts with Zoshia. And I probably want to pause the game real quick before. I will say this. Couple of things about tempered gore because I hadn't fought it with Lance. Number one, not the biggest fan of it with Lance. For other weapons, it feels similar, and I haven't tried it with gun Lance, but for other weapons, more similar to like a Hazard Apex. So he's dealing very large amounts of damage. With Lance, it's not that great. Gore, at the very least in Rise and Sunbreak specifically, dealt large amounts of knockback, but not the most chip damage. However, the danger there was that the amount of knockback he dealt could get you comboed, and then large amount of chip damage came from that. I didn't like it there. However, it wasn't the worst in the world. You had your Sheathing Retreat, which was amazing. Had massive amounts of iframes, so you could get out, and you usually just had it up if you weren't spamming wirefalls and getting hit that often, which if you're using Lance, you really shouldn't be. Here, there's none of that. So his Frenzy Blasts are just like taking so much HP. They combo into each other if you block them because they explode separately, which makes sense. And then a lot of his slams and stuff just take so much HP away. And in a game without health augment, not that fun. I did the one, and then I quit, and I just wanted to wait until Zoshia appeared. I tried to get Zoshia to appear by resting. That didn't work, so I just farmed Artveld and Tempered Gore. It was 5-star. Fainted lots and lots of times, and I failed 2 quests. And that was just specifically because I was using Lance. And the practice that I was trying to put into it, and at this point, I've just decided I don't want to fight it with Lance. It's just not fun. Is you have to... I've got Evade Extender, so you have to sidestep a lot of the attacks or guard advance. However, a lot of the times where you have to do that, and if you are attacking the head, which is the best hit zone, aside from, I think, the wing arms, which are pretty decent too, it's putting you right and under his stomach, which is not a good hit zone if you're dodging that correctly. I guess you could maybe go back, but that'd take a little bit more to get back into his hit zones if you're moving forward. Just really wasn't having that much fun with it. Especially if you're trying to guard the like blindsiding attacks, you're trying to power guard, and then power guard takes even more damage, which for every other fight in the game, outside of the select few attacks, which makes sense, that's normally how, guarding is. Some really strong attacks just take a lot of chip damage. Every other fight in the game doesn't do that. And then Gore is just randomly over the top with chip damage. And it's not that fun on the area. I think the fight itself has some random other things that I don't like about it, but that's mitigated if you're not having to shield stuff. That takes away a lot of your health. And again, Lance isn't that great at moving, and Evade Lance certainly is not the way to go because you can't link dodges into your combos like you can with guards. So just how I feel about tempered 5-star Gore. It may not be as bad with regular. I haven't really fought him with Lance on regular. Again, if you watched the last part with tempered Gore, which was also 5-star, I used Switch Axe, which didn't, have the fastest time, but went fairly well, all things considered. You have the guard from your sword counter, which can get you in bad situations, which, will happen. But for the most part, weapon itself is pretty evasive if you have evade extender, and you can deal some pretty decent damage just by poking and stuff. This weapon doesn't do that as well. It's really trying to rely on getting guard counters and such, especially with offensive guard and your grand retribution thrust, as you saw with Arkfeld. So again, I didn't really find it that enjoyable with this weapon. I did it with Sword and Shield too. It was really easy with Sword and Shield because you can just spam sliding chops and stuff like that. Sword and Shield is just like the pick-me-up weapon that you can just do anything with, so that's understandable. And the hammer I tried it with, which I had a little bit more issues with, but wasn't anywhere near as bad as it was here with Lance. But I'm sure I will fight more Gores at some point. In fact, I may even do it next part. But for now, I wanted to get more Zoshia done because I do actually want to farm it. And I didn't want to just save this quest and not be able to do the actual thing. I don't know if Zoshia can be tempered. I'm not 100% certain on that part, but I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. I'd just rather get the equipment right off the bat. So I don't really know what's going to be particularly great against it. I guess Switch Axe may be right. That might be good. And I could stay with Sword and Shield. Let's try Hammer first. I'll throw Switch Axe on the back burner. That way I can use it. I'll need to reset the decos for it though. I think that's fine. Actually could do this. That seems pretty good too. And then Hammer. Similar stuff on it. Set these decos. I think they were Gobbler. Alright, I think that's good. For now at the very least. Alright, we'll start with Hammer. Then we'll go into it with Switch Axe if I really want to switch for whatever reason. Gotta go on the map first. That's more important. I think I have to go there. Yeah. You can't just warp to it because it's its own map. It's like Jindahad. I am excited to fight this guy a little more. Again, I don't think he even deals that much chip damage. Obviously outside of some attacks. Which, those make sense. Right, I can completely understand, like, Arkfeld's Nova dealing a lot of damage to the garden. Realistically, it doesn't deal that much. It's just that it combos into itself. Is he gonna roar? Not really. That seemed like a pretty decent amount of damage, though. I wonder how resistant he is to KOs, too. Fair enough. Ow. I think they really want to punish you for spamming rolls. His head's actually pretty resistant to damage too. Maybe it'll take more like this. That broke pretty quickly. However, it did put me in a pretty long hit stun. Or not hit stun, but animation. Yeah, still really, I mean, okay, that's pretty good, right? Hold this. Right? Not really particularly amazing. Yeah, so he's resistant to damage on the head until you break it. And I'll still say this about Xochitl. It is still a bit odd that you can kill it. I don't know. It's weird. They're trying to make it like this big creature that is like an army weapon that destroys entire civilizations. And then you go in with your mallet and like crush its head. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. Like, okay, so think about it this way. Gogmazios. Or not Dalamadur. Well, I guess Dalamadur too, right? He was in 4. He was that game's final boss. What's the other one? It was the Leviathan. It had Fatalis skeleton, but you fought it underwater. Whatever it is, I'm sure you know. I'm surprised because it's like one of the few I've actually beaten twice in separate playthroughs. Story-wise. I want to say it's like Tune. I cannot remember this monster for the life of me. It's the fire one. Whatever it's called. That's another one. Nikarchos, kind of. Nikarchos is weird. It doesn't really feel that climactic, even though it's still somewhat difficult. It's more or less just an HP sponge than anything. And Autocall is pretty special too. I'm getting completely walloped here. But those monsters were multiplayer only. Well, okay, no, they weren't. For the most part, they were multiplayer skilled only. At the very least, the first time you could realistically fight them. Well, that's not true. You could fight Nikarchos in Generations, but you couldn't fight Gogmazios in 4 in Village, high rank. Same for Dalamadur. At least I don't think you could fight Dalamadur. So those monsters felt pretty special because they were only multiplayer scaled. Now, when I say that, it's not like Safi'jiiva or Kolv. I don't like that multiplayer scaling. That is not good multiplayer scaling. Good multiplayer scaling is Old Hub. Where, like, okay, in Generations, a Atolka hunt can take 15 minutes in with a Prowler and good end-game gear, right? Not being the most aggressive with it, not being, you know, too underly aggressive. Like, in a really good run, you might even be shaving off a little bit of a sub 15, something like that, which is good. That certainly wouldn't be the case in a game like this. And if we're taking the actual multiplayer skilled monsters into account, they weren't that way. I remember when Safi'jiiva came out, and it was just not fun because I was on Xbox at the time. I bought an Xbox for one game, which was World. And then I still have it, but I haven't touched it since World came to PC. So I didn't have the internet thing you needed because I didn't want to pay for it. If the game's going to be single player scaled and everything's somewhat feasible, at the very least, I didn't know about Extreme Behemoth and stuff, then I'm not going to worry about it. Then Safi comes out. I didn't deal with Kolv because it was a little too late for Kolv when I actually got the game. I got it because of Iceborne. So Safi comes out. I fight it for about 2 hours. I get a little bit of Dracolite, and that's about it. And I'm like, okay, this isn't possible. I think it is maybe possible to kill Safi solo if you are like running heroics and like random stuff like that. However, a normal person really isn't going to be able to beat it like that. So I finally had to go online and actually do that and buy the online, which was annoying. And I didn't like it. If we could avoid that in the future and still have multiplayer skilled hunts, that 2.5 times. That is the general normal HP boost that hub monsters got, from what I remember. I also didn't get full potions, so we'll see how this goes. That might hit. It did not hit. I'm a little sad that Hammer's regular one combo is just not good. It's, you know, triple pound. It's kind of sad that it's not that great. I am out of potions. Do I have a Farcaster of any kind? Can I leave? I can. Okay. I need to restock anyways. Maybe that'll let I can focus a little bit. Did I cart? What happened? Oh, what? I'll have to look at that. That's what? I don't know what it did to kill me there, but it did something apparently. Okay. Maybe I just got punished for leaving. I don't know what happened there. It was very odd though. Oh wait. I had burn on me. Okay. That probably was what happened. That makes the most sense. I had burn. I do wish you could also roll out of spinning bludgeon. That would be really nice. Because the move itself is fairly high commitment anyways, and not being able to just cancel it and roll for the amount of actual reward you get from it, which isn't very much at all. It would be nice to be able to just cancel that, because if you cancel it, you don't get your one thing. Okay, that hits. I'm trying to dodge it like Gore when it does that, because you go forward if you're fighting Gore and it does its paw slam. This is more or less just a learning curve, though. This isn't actually a majorly difficult thing. Trigger discipline and whatnot with healing. Not gonna spinning bludgeon there. Don't really feel too safe doing it. Don't think that'll hit me. I'm really curious how you're supposed to avoid that other than just positioning. Because regular iframes, and I may just not be timing it correctly, which would make sense. They don't seem like they're long enough to actually carry through it. And I have Evade Window 3, so regular iframes for sure don't have that. This is maybe his phase 2. Yes, get the thing, get the important part. Is that close enough? That one is. At least it should be. I think it's melting though. All right, phase 2. Like that second hit, I really don't think that should be only doing 55 damage. That feels very underpowered. That's a lot of damage. This might be more of a fight that rewards you for punishing instead of just trying to counter everything. All right, well. Tried to dodge it. I think that's probably another move where you're not running to the edge of the map. You want to get as much area as possible. Well, I failed this one. I'll switch to Switch Axe.
Okay? Nothing broken?
Again, after the first fail, I really don't care anymore about failing stuff. If I get some good practice in, it's all good. Still, I'm really curious about that attack, though, because it really doesn't look like it reaches that far, but apparently it does.
You're not taking me down.
It's interesting. Yeah, stay away from the edge. I really wish he would move, because I'm not fighting him over there. How much does this do? Not much. Don't like attacks that keep you from moving. Thor kind of had some of those too, where you just like try to attack it, but it doesn't work. Okay, well. Oh, okay. No, those are not showing where they're landing. That's showing where they're coming from.
Got it on the ground. Power up.
Bad flinch. Tried to do a sword counter, but hand lag was too long. I think I'm used to playing with rapid morph, which doesn't quite work out too well with timings. Hopefully, I think he combos that. He did it last time, but he's just kind of zoning in the corner right now. Why does that track so much? And why does it explode for so long? When does that stop tracking? Because, okay, if it stops tracking at the start, then I ran one direction and then another. I tried to...
Maybe we should try preparing a bit more first.
Fake him out. Because if he's tracking the entire time, then he's going to go one direction and then go to the other. And I ran out of space anyways on the right, which is why I really don't like him being in the corner there. It's really annoying. I wish he would move a little faster out of it. But that's just a me thing. So if it stops in the corner, or if it stops as soon as he's tracking, that's fine. You run in one direction where you have the most space after the first one. Problem, if it doesn't, if it keeps tracking, and that's just how big the hitbox is, not really a big fan of that. Because then you have to iframe it or guard it, and it's like, not every weapon has that. I guess if you sheath and run, but I don't know if you have enough time to sheath and run that. Again, I'm trying to lab out how you're supposed to do that. And yes, I'm going over time here. It's a very long fight for some reason. Let me go ahead and switch to something. I'm just going to switch to sword and shield for right now. It's the easy weapon, so we'll cheese it with that. I really wish Alma was sitting where she's supposed to be and not just in a random spot on the map. That'd make it a lot better. But we'll try it again. Yes, I know I'm going over, but I'm not really too worried about that. Maybe this time we won't die to a burn at the start of the fight. And that would be a lot better. Because that was just kind of a wasted cart. I tried to do a counter there, but I guess I was holding backwards. It did a back up. Okay. Okay. But I certainly can't really complain too much about it not being too difficult at all. And that's good. That's another monster that's not a complete cakewalk. You doing it again? No. Really should be grabbing these so I'm getting extra damage from crystal pops. Really probably should have put on some handicraft or something. Yeah, see, that looks like it doesn't, right? And again, if that's the case, then you run one direction. And you should be able to avoid it if your weapon is unsheathed, just by rolling. Looks like I can maybe counter that just with one attack. There we go. Never mind. I thought it was doing it again. That's why I ran into the other one.
This'll freshen you up quick.
Okay, I think those are always woundable whenever it does the drop. So you're supposed to break it, like focus it and then break it. And then poke it with a focus strike. Okay. Maybe you roll forward on that? Like here. Get close. Break it. That's how you're supposed to take care of that. Now it's super attack time. I'm gonna grab this one so I have more ammo. I think that's safe and I can just sharpen. For the most part. Doing it again. Good enough. Never mind. What is that tracking? I was holding a different direction. Okay. That actually after explodes a lot more. Okay, I don't know. I had my weapon sheathed at that time, so I ran faster. I can't tell. I think it's probably more of a don't panic thing, like sheath and go. However, some weapons can't really sheath that quickly. Evade extender would definitely be helpful in this fight. I have 1.0 on, like I said before, but that's not that much for this large of a monster.
I've got you.
That's doing a lot of damage. I'm thinking of this fight completely incorrectly. Is it super time? Please sheath. Okay, maybe it extends out wider than it does long ways. So you want to run forward or backwards against it. Maybe not backwards, maybe forwards is the better way. Now's the time we go to cut the tail and see if it's easy to chop off. Okay, much easier to break off. I'll take it. I don't mind taking the damage there. However, might be dead. Nah. Yeah. So yeah, don't waste time attacking the tail at the beginning, because it just comes out so much faster. Yeah, this is gonna be a much better time. And I can't tell if it's because of the crystals. Let me go, please. Think I'm safe here? Oh no, he's not gonna super. Okay, we're good then. Hey, Worm's Bane anywhere? There is. Didn't hit him. Not really sure how much damage I'll be able to do. Green sharpness. Not much. Wait, this is good? Nah, not close enough. Alright, bud, I really need to sharpen. I know you don't want to let me. Yeah, it looks like that expands more outwards than closer to him. So that's what we'll be looking for when trying to dodge it instead of running backward or running to the side. Good Moxie. That still hits. Not sure where that hitbox expands towards. Okay. Please. Well, that's fairly generous, guard-wise. Failed one. That's fine though. This will actually end up being close to another whole hour, but that's okay. What I'll probably end up doing is finishing this part out and then doing a whole thing at the very least of the other two of this, because I do want to try to optimize it a little more. Apparently it is taking a decent chunk of time. I'd like to work on it. Maybe see if I can't just play a little bit better and see if I can't get it down. I don't know how much element he takes. I haven't looked into that yet. The game chart really does not help at all. See if I can make any armor or weapon. Weapon more important because I want to see how strong that weird skill is.
Anything catch your eye? Look good? Alrighty. Perfection. Now that's a good choice.
Really am curious. Cool looking weapon, but I am really curious what would even make this good. Really doesn't have that much grid on it. Guess I can use an expert jewel. Fine for now. Maybe crit element. That might be okay. We'll see. So the only thing I saw on this weapon is maybe it activates more often, but it doesn't, you know, apply that much damage. Like that. I think that was it. 8 attacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's just varying. Okay, that's interesting. Is there any way to get that up? Or is it just a random extra 50 damage? And if it doesn't particularly matter what you use, faster attacks are probably better, right? So feels weird that it isn't that consistent. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Does that build up? Then maybe. Can't really tell. That happened very quickly. Huh. Very odd. Weapon itself looks pretty cool though, but not really sure if that's gonna be better than Ardian or just a different monster tree weapon. But either way, done for this part finally. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next part.